Okay, if you would, open up your Bibles to the book of Psalms. Psalms 139. Book of Psalms 139, verses 13 through 18. 139, verses 13 through 18. Have you ever thought about how amazing the human body is? Whenever you get a chance and you're just bored, don't have anything to do, I want you to Google amazing facts about the human body. I mean, you would be truly surprised. I'm going to read you some of the things that I found when I Googled that just the other day. The average heart beats 100,000 times a day. That's a lot, isn't it? It pumps about 2,000 gallons of blood a day. When you turn 70 years old, anybody over here 70 or more? When you turn 70 years old, the average heart beats 2.5 billion times. By the time you turn 70 years old, your heart beats 2.5 billion times. Your veins are 60,000 miles long. You have enough veins in your body to go all the way around the earth more than twice. All stuffed in your body. In a square inch of skin, you have 3,900,000 cells in a square inch of skin. You have 32 foot of nerves, 33 feet of nerves in 1 inch of skin. You have 8 feet of blood vessels in 1 inch. That's pretty impressive, right? I mean, it's pretty amazing, our human bodies that God created. And then there's your brain. Your brain weighs about 3 pounds, the average brain does. Your brain can store about 100 trillion bits of information by the time you turn 70 years old. 100 trillion bits of information. And I'm thinking, how is that possible when I can't remember what I did yesterday? But it's true. I mean, your brain it has an unlimited amount of storage to it. And your brain has about 45 miles of nerves that send impulses through your body as fast as 325 miles an hour. Your brain can send an impulse to your foot to move that fast. I mean, you can't go that fast, but it can send a message that quick. 325 miles an hour. I mean, that's pretty impressive, right? I mean, have you ever just sat down and just thought about your body and thought about how God made it and how amazing the human body is, and just kind of, sit down and just look at your hand and wonder how it works, or your eyes. I don't know how far stars are away from here, but we can see them. That's pretty amazing, isn't it? How God created us to be able to. So the human body is just a tremendous miracle, and I'm sure sometime in your life you probably just sat down and tried to figure it out. How in the world, are we created like this? How amazing is the body? Well, here in Psalms 139, verses 13 through 18, I think David is doing what many of us have done before in our lives. And he is sitting there and he is thinking about the human body. And he is thinking about how amazing the human body is. Now, David couldn't get his phone out and Google amazing facts about the human body. But look, I want us to look at what he came to, the conclusion that he came to as he just sat there one day thinking about his body and how wonderful it is made. So let's read here in Psalms 139, starting in verse 13. It says, "For it was you," of course, you means God, it was God. Oh, and by the way, I'm reading out the Holman Christian Standard instead of the King James today. Sometimes I just like the way it words things. It's a good translation. It's the same as our Sunday school material, I think. Use the same translation. So that's what I'll be reading out of today. It says, "For it was you who created my inward parts. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I will praise you, because I have been remarkably and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful, and I know this very well. My bones were not hidden from you when I was made in secret, when I was formed in the depths of the earth. That's what he's talking about, of course, there's the mother's womb. He says, your eyes saw me when I was formless. All my days were written in your book and planned before a single one of them began. God, how difficult your thoughts are for me to comprehend, how vast they are. I mean, listen, we can't begin to comprehend the thoughts that God had to create the human body. Mm-hmm. And when he was thinking about this, he says, if I counted them, if he counted all these thoughts that God had, if I counted them, they would outnumber the grains of sand. When I wake up, I am still with you. So he is like in a dream or a daydream, or he's just thinking about how God just created such an amazing thing called the human body. And David understands what you and I understand today. David understands that God is the one who created us, okay? That evolution thing, I want to make this clear to everybody. There's no monkeys in my family tree. Okay, we didn't evolve from any kind of monkey and all that. God made us in his image. Okay, so David understood that, and I think all of us here today understand that as well, that we were created by God. And David realized that life is valuable. And because he understood that life was valuable because God is the one who made us. And not only did God make us, but he made us in his image. So that's why we are such a valuable person. Listen, if God hadn't created us the way he did, if God hadn't created us in his image, then our life would have no value. The only reason our life has value is because of who created us, God. Think about it. If God would have created us like a fly on the wall, a fly has life, right? Fly flies around, aggravates. What you do, you get a fly swat and you kill it. So if God didn't create us with value because he did it because he did it in his image, God is the one that gives us value. If you don't believe that God created you, then you have no more value than that fly on the wall. I mean, you take any living creature. I mean, if life has no value, if a roach run across there, it's alive, right? What you gonna do? You gonna kill it, right? But it's alive, but you took it out. But your life, the human body, has value, and it has value because God created you to have value. He created you to be in his image. Now, this is another thing that I don't think people understand, what an avalanche that abortion caused when it first came into existence. And we're paying for it today. Have you noticed here lately that almost every single day in the past 2 months, somebody has been shot and killed in Tuscaloosa or Birmingham almost every day? And there's probably hundreds around the United States and around this world. But now think about this. All right, if life has no value, then it'd be just like killing that fly. It'd be just like stomping that roach if it has no value. I mean, both of them are alive, but you kill them. So the whole generations and generations that come after us, all of their life, it has been legal for you to kill your unwanted baby. Their whole life, you can have an abortion. The government has made it legal for you to abort, which means to kill your unborn baby. So what does that tell the generation? That life has no value to it. I can stomp it out just like a roach. I can kill it just like a fly on the wall because it has no value. So there's a whole generation of people that who are pushing abortion and claiming that that a baby has no value, and then destroying the baby in the mother's womb. So that's why our world is so out of control today with so much killing, because the generations and generations of people see life as no value. But your life is very valuable. Your life is valuable because God made you, and he made you to be valuable, and he made you in his image. And it's the same thing. Now listen, I don't want everybody to get mad at me about pets, because I love pets. I love animals, don't get me wrong. But animals don't have the same value as human beings. We kill animals and eat them, okay? Cows, and this gets me, you take people up north of California, they think that grocery stores just make a steak. They think grocery stores just somehow make a chicken breast. But you have to kill a chicken to eat it. If you want a steak, you got to kill a cow. So we kill certain animals and we eat them. Okay? So animals and humans do not have the same value. We are valuable because God created us different. He created us to be in his image, in his likeness. We have a soul. So listen, this whole world is kind of messed up on that. But every single person is valuable. No matter, there's a lot of people have you ever thought, why am I created? Why was I born to look like this? Why was I created this way? Why did God create me? Because look what it says in verse 13. For it was you, talking about God, who created my inward parts. You knit me together in my mother's womb. God created you exactly the way he wanted you to be in the mother's womb. Have you ever thought about, and a lot of people are just not happy with it. Well, I'm too short, or I'm too tall, or I'm too fat, or I'm too skinny, or I'm not smart enough, or I don't like the color of my hair. I wish I'd had straight hair. I wish I'd had curly hair. I wish I'd had this, but God created you the way he wanted you to be. He created you that way. And then, it just, and we don't understand the answers of things, but, and that's just like you have children who are born with handicaps, just like Pierce. You have children who are born with handicaps. And God wasn't surprised by that. He wasn't surprised because he's seen that baby put together in the womb. He knew that was going to happen. My good friend, Brother Brian Allen, he's severely handicapped. But listen, he's done great things for the Lord. He's done wonderful things for the Lord. And I can tell you something else. I can't wait to see what God's going to do with Pierce one day. He's going to do great things for that young man one of these days. So you see, there's people who were born all kind of ways, but God saw that in the womb. He's seen that child in the womb, and there are people who were born with just defects. Another good friend of mine, Bobby Shinholster, he was born with his lungs wasn't fully developed, his heart wasn't fully developed, and they never thought he'd make it, 20 years old? But and he died when he was in his 40s. When he was in his 40s, everybody couldn't believe it. So why was he born that way? Well, I don't know. I don't know why he was born that way. I don't know why, God creates people in certain ways. He knows, and he's got a plan. And Bobby touched a lot of lives while he was here on this earth. And then you have some people who are born with mental issues. There's a lot of kids in the school where I teach heavy equipment in Birmingham that have mental issues. And it's just, people are born in any kind of way. The list can go on and on and on of all the people in the world that God created in the womb. And he created each person to be the unique person that he wanted them to be. We all have great value. We have great value because God is the one who created us. He says in this verse, let me see if I can go back and find it, where he talks about Okay, go back to verse 15. He says, my bones were not hidden from you when I was made in secret, when I was formed in the depths of this earth. Now, talking about being made in secret and talking about the depths of this earth, that was just David's idea of talking about the mother's womb. He said, I wasn't hid from you. When a child is being developed in the mother's womb, David said, my bones were not hidden from you. When a child is born or has health issues, God sees that. You know, if that child is handicapped or not fully developed or has a mental issue or whether it's completely healthy, God sees that. He sees that in the womb. He knows. So you see, there's no accident. You know, we won't know till we get to heaven why people were born the way they were born. But it's no accident, okay? God creates each person uniquely to who you are. And every single person has value. We are very, very valuable. You know why you are valuable? Because God created you. You know why you are valuable? Because God created you just the way that you are. That's why you are so valuable. It says, so listen, even with, it don't matter if you are handicapped like Brother Brian, or if you are handicapped like Pierce, or if you were born with your organs not fully developed like Bobby, or if you're the greatest athlete in the world, or if you are Einstein. You are valuable. You have a whole lot of worth, no matter what. For example, you see this $20 bill? Would any of y'all take this if I gave it to you? Most of you would. Most of you, if I say, would you please take this $20 bill? Most of you would take it. Well, what if I watered it up like this? What if I watered it up and made a mess out of it like this? Would you still want it? Why? Because it's still worth $20 bill, right? Well, what if I take this dollar bill and I threw it down on the ground, and I stomped it and then twisted it down in the dirt and just kicked it over to the side? Would you still want it? Why? Why? I mean, look at it. Look at what it looks like. It's all beat up. It's all twisted up. It's dirtied up. It's mashed up. It's been abused. Why would you still want it? Is the paper is that paper worth $20? No. Is the ink on that paper, is it worth $20? No. Well, why is it worth $20? Because our Treasury Department of the United States, who created this, says it's worth $20. That's the only reason why this is worth $20. Because the paper's not, the ink's not. It's because of who created it. So if I was to take this piece of paper and just wad it up and tear it up and throw it in the dirt and put it in the mud and destroy it and abuse it, and Karen, if I took this to the bank, would y'all take it? We would. You'd take it. That's exactly why. Because it's still worth $20.
We might not want to touch it.
And the only reason why this is worth $20 is because the people who created it says it's worth $20. So listen, in the same way with God, I don't care what you look like. I don't care how you were born. I don't care how beat up you are, how tore up you are, how crumbled up you are. You are valuable. You know why? Because of the one who created you said that you are valuable. Just like that $20 bill. That $20 bill is worth $20 because the one who created it says it's worth it. So the one who created you, God, no matter how you came into this world, you are very, very valuable. No matter how you may look or how you may feel, it's God. Listen, God's going to do great things, and I wish y'all. I'm going to get Brother Brian Allen to come here one day and let y'all meet him. He's an amazing man. And he has some pretty severe handicaps. But let me tell you what, that man can preach. And he's smart, very smart. He goes to work every day. He got beautiful handwriting, a lot better than mine. He's got 2 great kids. I don't know how many grandchildren.
7.
7 grandchildren.
Yeah.
But God has done amazing things with him. Listen, and I can't wait to see what God's going to do with Pierce. You know, Pierce is going to be able to reach people you and I can't reach. You know, he's got good plans for him. And he's going to do great things with him. And you can't help but get excited about it. Because God knew exactly how each and every one of us were formed in the womb. And he's got a plan. God has a plan. And listen, when you think about how each and every single one of us was created uniquely, there's nobody in this world like you. I mean, they may have a lot of ways like you. Some of your children may favor you. You know, they may act like you, but nobody in this world is just like you. And there's a reason why. Because God created you that way, because there's things that you can do in a way that nobody else in this world can do. And that's the same way it is with every person that's ever been born. I don't care how they were born. There's something they can do that nobody else can do. So we have that value. We have that value that God gives us. But you know what? There seems like there's a lot of times when most everyone has probably had a time in their life where they just felt like they wasn't important. A lot of people have probably felt a time in their life that thought, I have no value. I have no worth. It could be, well, I'm too old now. I can't do the things I used to do. Or people say, well, now I'm just, I just can't function like I used to. I don't feel like I have any value. And then there's some people say, well, I'm too ugly and nobody likes me. And then there's some people say, well, nobody loves me. Nobody cares about me and I have no value. And then it feels like sometimes in your life when it feels like the whole world is falling down around you and you don't know what to do, sometimes you think, I feel like I'm nobody. I feel like I'm nothing. I feel like I have no value. Well, let me tell you, you know what I call that kind of thinking? I call that stinking thinking. Okay? That is stinking thinking. You know why? Because you are valuable. You know why you are valuable? Because God created you. God created you to be valued. Just like that $20 bill. The only reason that $20 bill is valuable is because the person who created it says it is. So I don't care how down and out you get, or how sometimes you think the whole world's against you. Sometimes you think nobody loves you, nobody cares about you. Sometimes you think that you're all alone in this world with nobody else there. You are valuable, and that is stinking thinking that you're doing, okay? You need to get out of that rut, because you can get in a rut, okay? You can get in a rut with that, the kind of thinking. That kind of thinking can get you down. So you got to reach up and say, listen, I'm somebody. I'm a child of God. My Heavenly Father is king over everything. I'm royalty. I'm a child of God. I have royalty. I'm an important person. It don't matter. It don't matter if you're poor. It don't matter if you're rich. Some people say, well, I'm not smart enough. I'm not good looking enough. Whatever it may be, you got to get away from that kind of thinking, because our value depends on our Creator. Even if you look like this $20 bill. Some of us look like we've been rode hard and put up wet, okay? Even if you look like this old crumbled up bill where you've been, in your whole life, you've been stomped on, you've been kicked on, seemed like if it's going to go wrong, it's going to happen to you. You ever thought about that? If it's ever going to go wrong, it's going to happen to me. It don't matter how beat up and crumbled up you are, you have value because God says that you do. Because God created you. That's why you have that value. Verse 13 says, for it was you, talking about God, for it was you who created my inward parts. You knitted me together in my mother's womb. You're the one that created me. Every person born is a unique person. Now, I want to close with one of the most, to me, this is one of the most eye-opening verses in the whole entire Bible. I mean, you remember me talking about the sit-down moments that I have sometimes? Sometimes I'll read something in the Bible and I'm just like, man, I just got to put my Bible down. I got to sit down and I got to think about that. This verse right here to me is one of the greatest verses in the whole entire Bible. And look at it. Look at it. It's verse 16. I want y'all to read verse 16 with me. It says, your eyes saw me when I was formless. Now listen to this part. Here's the amazing part. All of my what? All of my days were written in your book. All of my days, all of your days was written in God's book. And what? Planned. When was it planned? Look what it says. Before a single one of them began. That's crazy. Think about that. Let me read that again. All my days were written in your book and planned before a single one of them began. That's the most amazing thing I think I've ever read. But before you were born, all your days, before you ever come out into this world, all of your days was planned from day one till the Lord takes you home before you was even born. Does that not just blow your mind? Isn't that amazing? That every single day of your life was already planned before one day ever started. That's amazing. So why do we worry so much about things? Why do we worry so much about my life and the way it was created? Why do we worry so much about how we were born? Because God has already planned it out from the beginning to the end before you ever spent one day on this earth. It's already in his book. In other words, God's already seen your movie. If you look at your life as a movie, God's already watched it. He's seen it from the day that you was born all the way to the time that you're going to go home. God's already seen your movie. He knows how it's going to end. God's already seen it. It's already in his book. I mean, he knows how your life began. God knows everything that you have been through from the time that you were born all the way up to right now today. God knows what you have been through. He knows these things that you have. He knows what you're dealing with right now. He knows it. And he already knows if some of you are dealing with some kind of something that you're wondering how the outcome's going to be, God already knows. It's probably on page 2006 in his book. If we had his book, we could look over there and see what it says. But we don't have his book. So what do we have to do? Like that song says, trust and obey. You know, we just keep putting one foot in front of the other one. We just keep following him. Because he knows whatever you're dealing with today, whatever problem it is, God already knows the outcome of it. I mean, that verse is just so amazing to me that God has already planned your days out in his book from beginning to end before the first day ever started. That's just crazy, isn't it? God knows everything there is to know about you. God knows how this day's going to end for you. So all the things that has happened in our lives and all the good stuff that's happened in our lives, all the sad things that have happened in our lives, that's all part of the plan. Because you notice what it said in that verse. Look, what is that word right there? All the days in your book, your eyes saw me when I was formless. All my days were written in your book. And what does that word say? Plan. I like to make a plan, don't you? Tammy will tell you, it worries her to death that I got to have a plan. You know, if we go into town, I got to have a plan. You know, if we're going to work in the yard, I got to have a plan. You know, anything we're going to do, I got to have a plan. So God's got to, this is how he planned your life to be. Now, of course, we make stupid decisions, you know, in our lives that cause us things to happen to us. But God knew it. He knew it was going to happen. You know, he knew it was. The reason why that mine and Tammy Joe's life was so miserable back in the 80s was, if we had not been miserable, I wouldn't be a preacher today. And I wouldn't be here, and Tammy wouldn't be and sit there. I mean, we went through some hard times, you know. We were separated for a little while. But God knew that a Baptist preacher can't be divorced. You see? But you know, I would have probably never found the Lord had it not been the struggles that Tammy Joe and I have been through. So all the struggles that you face in life, you don't never know. God's is like the chessboard. He's going to make this happen to force you to move that way. You know, so every day is, what's that word? Planned. This verse is so amazing, I got to read it one more time, y'all. Your eyes saw me when I was formless. All my days were written in your book and planned before a single one of them began. I just can't get over that. That's the most amazing thing in the world. But you know what, folks? There's a lot of people alive today. We talked about this a week or two ago. There's a lot of people who are alive, but they're not really living. Because you can't really have life until you know Jesus Christ. You have to know Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior if you want to know what it really means to live. And there's a lot of people who are just existing in this world. They're unhappy. They have no purpose. They have no meaning. They don't know why they're here on this earth. Once you find Jesus Christ, you know why you're here on this earth, and you realize that your life has value. See, David didn't realize that his life had value until he started. The verses before this, he was praising God and thinking about God. The only way that you're going to figure out that your life has value is when you put God in it. God's the one that gives us value. And we're going to give a hymn of invitation. And if you've never accepted Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, I pray that you'll make that decision today. Let's go to the Lord in prayer.